Hello and welcome. We have reached our halfway point. We are talking about our last movie of our Pixar month today with The Incredibles 2. This is what we've all been waiting for when it comes to Pixar. They released Incredibles 2 this month and I finally got to see it and I'm here to talk about it. And I'm not going to try to do spoilers because it's so brand new, but there are some things I'm going to talk about. But The Incredibles 2 was released in 2018 this year, and it was directed by Brad Bird again. And the music again was by Michael Giacchino, and like I've said, I've discovered a new favorite composer. I have to check out his other stuff now that's not related to Pixar, but I realize he did Zootopia. So he's a big Disney composer that we don't know about, and this needs to get changed because I feel like we know Hans Zimmer, the Sherman Brothers, and Lin-Manuel Miranda and all those great icons, Robert Lopez, that all do Disney songs, but composers wise we don't know that much, so they need to have more spotlight. And I haven't even talked about the movie yet and I'm ranting about Michael Giacchino needing to be known more because his music is amazing. We have most of the same cast as back.
Haha! No theme song or I'll turn this bus right around.
Cool. Now if you were to make it a little more obnoxious, like very funny.
Haha!
I don't know that way. Why would they change math? Math is math! Math is math!
And we have a couple of new characters that are really fresh and they definitely add so much to our plot.
I love superheroes. The powers, the costumes, the mythic struggles.
There are a lot of references back to the first film, which I really appreciate. And I know I just talked about Finding Dory, how Finding Dory was basically the same movie in a different location. Well, you have this example of how they do it correctly. It's the same type of plot line, but there's so many twists and turns with it and it's so fresh, and the references that they use in the old movie compared to the new movie are just more of a throwback, which makes things hilarious. The writing is fantastic and they make you drawn in. I get so tense watching films when it comes to Marvel. As we know, I'm a huge Marvel fangirl, so I love my superheroes. But this one, I was literally on the edge of my seat the entire time. You know there's just something off from the beginning of the film because you kind of know there has to be a villain somewhere and something's going on and you don't know who to trust. But it just goes from 0 to 100 and you're just on the ride, and I was literally tense the entire time, just so hooked. It was such a great film. It didn't feel like it dragged at all, and it was honestly the most fantastic thing I've seen when it comes to like Disney films, because you can't beat Infinity War. I mean, that is honestly the biggest box office hit this year, but there's a lot of exciting movies that we're coming out with, so there's still some things to look forward to. But this one was just 100% out the gate. The 15 years that took to wait for this hype was so worth it, and they definitely made it so fresh. There was a little bit of commentary subtly about today's issues and about media, and it was very meta, and I really felt the villain, Screenslaver, was actually really creepy.
The Screenslaver interrupts this program for an important announcement.
I felt a little bit unnerved watching this, and I mean it wouldn't bother me, but I feel like for a villain, he's an actual scary villain that I feel like kids might be afraid of. Because for me, and even with the scenes that they have, there are some scenes that they have warnings for seizures because there's a lot of flashing lights, and in the dark theater it definitely, because we also saw it in Dolby Cinema, we did see it in the larger theater, so it was a little bit different experience, but I'm sure it's the exact same from a normal theater, and it is lots of flashing lights. It doesn't bother me thankfully, but I know people are warned about it, but it's still, it is so direct to the plot line that there's no way they could have wrapped around it, and the plot line is so important, and the messages that they have is very interesting because you can go either way, and it's a very meta message, and I really appreciate it. I mean, the first one was enjoyable, but it was just a fun film, and I love superheroes, but it wasn't anything up to my Marvel standards of what I love with the chemistry of the characters, but this one, how everyone's just a little bit older and how Violet is dealing with her boy trouble.
Is she having adolescence?
And that Jack has his powers, and Dash is just trying to survive in school. Dash is kind of in the background. It's more with Violet, but the fact that Bob has to become the parent because Elastigirl is the face of the superheroes now, he has to take it over, and it's just so much fun, and it's a really refreshing take on relationship roles, and there was so much humor in it. I was cracking up out loud, and it doesn't happen often when I laugh out loud at a theater movie, or any movie in general. So I give them so much credit for this. This is a fantastic, fantastic film. Definitely saved the best for last when they came to Pixar, and they keep outdoing themselves every time. So go see it if you haven't already. Go watch it because it honestly is fantastic, and I buy into the hype. The hype is phenomenal, and they do an amazing, amazing job, and I bravo them because it was worth it. That's it for this month. We made it to halfway through, but we still have halfway throughout the year of more films to talk about, and there's a lot more coming up. So tomorrow starts a new month. Tomorrow in July, we are going to be focusing on all Disney Channel original movies. So stay tuned, and as always, I hope you have a magical day, and I will see you real soon.